Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Aren't you tired of not being able to see the way you did when you were younger? Do you think that you have to be young to have LASIK? The truth is that LASIK isn't just for young people, and many patients in their 50s and 60s are experiencing the joys of LASIK. And that's why you should consider LASIK with Stanford-trained Dr. William Ellis. He's not only my ophthalmologist, personally he's my friend, and I can vouch for his expert skills. Ellis Eye has several convenient locations, including their newest location in San Francisco on Maiden Lane. To celebrate this grand opening, Dr. Ellis is offering my listeners, military or police, a free LASIK evaluation valued at $360 and substantial savings on LASIK surgery. Take advantage of this great offer now by calling 888-691-2296. That's 888-691-2296. Put yourself in the skilled and caring hands of Dr. William Ellis. And remember, you don't have to be young to have LASIK. Call 888-691-2296 and tell him Dr. Savage sent you.
Talk Radio 560 KSFO.
Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage.
It is the Savage Nation, hour number 3. If you just joined us, we spent almost 2 hours talking about an incident here in an area where I live, part-time. I have houses, by the way, in other places. And I've always thought this was a rather liberal place, which it is, but rather benign. They generally leave you alone. Well, apparently there are individuals who think that because it's a peaceful area, they can become violent with impunity. And that is what we were talking about with my attorney, Dan Horowitz. And we had callers from people around America who've been assaulted by the same type because of their politics. Seems to be an open season on Trump supporters right now. And everyone thinks they're going to make a name for themselves by opening their mouths or attacking. Well, thus far, this one's gotten away with it. Assaulted me, assaulted another man, injured a small animal, and the police have not arrested him. They let him make up a story that I started it, which is ludicrous on the face of it. I didn't know who he was. Never saw him before. Turn around, there he is in my face. So, apparently it's open season on Trump supporters, and the police have their hands tied, is what people are saying. I'm not so sure that's the situation. Berkeley, California. You mean burning buildings now and beating up old women and pulling their hair because they wore a Trump cap? That's considered fair play? It is if you live in a fascist liberal area. They use the guise of being good to get away with murder. Lie, cheat, steal, assault. But they do it with a smile. That's the liberal way. Smile to your face and stab you in the back with a knife. Well, the only way for us to win this war is to stand up to them in the courts. And that's what I intend to do. Lots of news out there. Trump wants to cut payments to PBS, NPR, and National Endowment for the Arts. Oh, that's terrible. Because we all know every liberal is so civilized. I mean, they listen to the NPR news show, and they just get all the news that they need with Vivaldi music in the background. And they think it's the truth when they get one side of the picture. Well, no, they don't just get they don't get the whole picture. Trump's budget would zero out the $445 million budget for the CPR, Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Now, it should be noted that it's a small source of funding for programming and broadcast operations on public TV stations and NPR radio stations nationwide. But what you don't know is the exorbitant amount of money that some of these hosts make on this public radio outlet. It'd be one thing if it was all, Bernie Sanders socialists wearing suits with soup stains on them, who ate out of Campbell soup cans. They make huge salaries. They're feasting on the public dime, And I see that we do need to cut funding for PBS, NPR, and the NEA. Let them go out into the private sector and get the money. I'm sure that they can replace it in 1 second with all the liberals at Google or Microsoft, because that's what they believe in. So let them fund it. I don't want to pay for people who hate me, okay? You want to talk about that? I'm open for business. Should Trump cut NPR and PBS? Is a good question. Mr. Mulvaney said, we're ending federal involvement with the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. The wonderful folks who gave us shows like the perverted Sesame Street. And as much false news as you can possibly want. Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney said we're cutting off all funds. But it will not be immediate because of the nature of government contracting. He said next year it might be zero. It may take a while to unwind that relationship. It's just the nature of contracts. The Washington Free Beacon previously reported defunding NPR and public radio would likely take years because the Corporation for Public Broadcasting gets its funding 2 years in advance. That's not a good sign. They get $100 million a year, the public radio, $99.1 million. Now we're going to say, oh, that's the cost of running an aircraft carrier for 1 second. I'd rather run the aircraft carrier for 1 second than pay for the fat salaries of these 10th-rate broadcasters. Let all of them go out into the commercial world that I live in and see how far they get. See how long they last on radio with their sweet little saccharine voices, peddling their pap every day. WABC Steve, line 2. What's the topic? Go ahead, please.
Yes, you mentioned that you'd had a bit of a dispute with the restaurant. Has it occurred that maybe somebody affiliated with the restaurant put the attacker up to this?
Nah, because I never go there. I'm never in the place. I was there a few, and it just didn't work out. The guy who owns it's a really nice guy. He's a very nice man. I really like the guy, but I don't go there generally. I don't think that's at all a possibility, Steve. But, I know what you're thinking, but nah, couldn't have. No. KSFO, Denise, line 8, what's your topic? Go ahead, please.
Oh, hi. Listen, I was raised, and my brother, by a Marine and a mother that was an incredible markswoman, and I'll be danged if they're going to put crime scene tape around me and tell me I can't defend myself.
I understand all that, but what story are we talking about?
The Tiburon police are making it seem like, it's just a misunderstanding or that's the kind of take I get on it.
Here you have a man who attacked 2 people and a small animal, and they let him go. And they let him fabricate a lie, filing a false police report, in my opinion, saying I started it when I never saw the man before.
And they said, well, we cited both men, and, they're going to...
Yeah, I understand, right. Maybe he's a regular in that place. I don't know who he is. I never saw him before. I don't know who he is. So, here we go. We're in a new world order. Only it's not going to be running in one direction anymore. Little overreach here on the part of people who think they have the right to just go up and assault somebody and then strike an individual who tries to stop their violence. I guess he thinks he's ahead of the curve right now. Must be laughing while listening to the show. Thinks he's got the juice down there in that town. Maybe he does. Maybe he has the juice and I don't. But you see, a town is part of a state, and a state is part of a federal entity. There are town laws, there are state laws, there are federal laws, and if you step over that line and assault an elderly person, you're violating both state and federal law. It doesn't matter what the local police want to do. We have state law and we have federal law, and I will use it if I need to. But, on the other hand, I said earlier, I will accept an apology at this time, and then I will consider what to do. If, on the other hand, this man wants to stay in the shadows and hide, that's another story. WFTL, Michael on line 7, go ahead, please.
Yes. I don't understand why they didn't arrest this person that attacked you.
But he didn't just attack me. He also punched a Good Samaritan right in the face in front of a crowd.
Right, and this person was arrested for premeditated assault, and he's sitting in jail without...
Wait, now you're mixing me up. Who was arrested for premeditated? Who?
In Miami, there was a synagogue, and 2 people were there, and one person in the middle of prayer, assaulted and injured this person, and he was...
yeah, but it's not a comparable story. You know, I mean, I don't understand how it relates to this story. What's the point?
The point is you got assaulted by this person, so it should be considered premeditated.
Well, it may be premeditated. How did he know my family name? I don't know him. He knows me. Maybe there's a history of him. Maybe there's a history of him looking for me somewhere, which will come out in any investigation.
That's why you should.
Well, we haven't investigated. Maybe there's a history of this man writing things about me on the internet that I don't know about. Going back, if that's true, there's a bigger story here. You know, things have a way of escalating when you don't step forward and say, I'm sorry. Thank you for the call. This story won't go away. KSFO, Mike on line 5. People will not let the story go. Mike, what do you want to talk about?
Dr. Savage, I heard about your incident this morning. If the police did not arrest this guy, how could they do a background check to find out if he's had priors for the same type of a crime?
Well, that's a question I've been asking. How do I know he's not a man who is violent, who poses a threat not only to myself but to others? What does it take to get arrested if you assault 2 people and an animal and they don't arrest you? Tell me what it takes in Marin County to get arrested.
I wish I knew the answer to that, Michael, and I'm very sorry to hear what happened. It just pissed me off.
No, I bounced right back up. I mean, but the thing is, it's 2 days later, and I'm in severe pain in my neck and back. I'm not going to lie to you. I may have to take tomorrow off and seek treatment. I don't know what I'm going to do. I go back to work no matter what happened. I'm going to divulge something right now I've never told anyone because when my father got sick years ago and got a heart attack, he never told anybody. He didn't want anyone to know it. He thought it was a sign of weakness. That's the kind of people I come from. And we all said, why don't you tell people? He said, it's not their business. But I'm going to say something right now because thank God it's behind me and no one's heard this yet. And I know we don't have many affiliates right now. As many as we do in the first 2 hours, but this will go out on the news wires. Let me tell you something. A number of years ago, I think it was 3 years ago. What month is this? I don't know what month we're in. I lost track. My birthday month. 3 years ago, in January, I woke up one day and I had lost control of the right side of my face. My jaw was not working on the right side and my eye was drooping. But again, because I don't complain, I didn't want to do anything about it. I thought I slept on the wrong side of my face. I called my good friend Doc Kraft, great guy, physician, warrior, fought in 5 wars, great musician, has a local band here in Marin, great people, old Green Beret with a lot of friends here in Marin County who love me to death. I should say love me to life. They're infuriated. They've been writing me all night. What can we do? What can we do? I said, just leave it to the police and the courts. That's what you can do. I call him up and he says, go to the hospital immediately. I said, what are you talking about? He says, you got to make sure it's not a stroke. I said, it'll go away in the morning. He said, go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. First of all, I did the show that day with a half a mouth. I swear to God, you never knew this. If I could ever find the show, I have such control over myself. Remember what Freud said? If you wake up one day and find yourself walking on one arm and one leg, then crawl. I practice what I preach. I went on the air that day with a half a mouth, meaning I had no control of my lips on the right side. I was able to project my voice accurately from the left side of my face. At the end of the show, I went to the ER room. Within an hour or 30 minutes, they diagnosed it as Bell's palsy. Now, I didn't know what it was. I'd heard about it. I knew one person who had had it. Anyway, the long short of it is, they made this medicine, that medicine, that medicine. I threw it all away, as I normally do, and I did my own thing the next day. I took 1 day off from the radio. Within 2 days, I was better. I was back on the air 2 days later, and the illness resolved itself within 2 weeks. And the neurologist, who was a young guy, said, I have patients who have Bell's palsy from 1978 who are still crippled. He said, I don't know how you did it. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. Attention. This message is for everyone suffering from back pain. If you're driving in your car right now, I'm sure every bump, every little crack you run over feels like a giant speed bump, sending shooting pain through your back, pain you'll be feeling all day. Back pain that makes a 30-minute commute feel like a punishing 2-hour drive. Well, here's some good news. If you're by a CVS or Walgreens, pull in right now. You heard me. Walk back to the pain relief aisle and get Australian Dream Back Pain Cream. It's in a purple box. Australian Dream is real effective medicine that really works. Rub it in where it hurts. Give yourself some relief. Try Australian Dream Back Pain Cream, backed by the empty jar guarantee. Use the entire jar if it doesn't relieve your back pain. I want you to send back the empty jar for a full refund. Pull into the nearest CVS or Walgreens. Get Australian Dream Back Pain Cream now, in the purple box, or visit AustralianDream.com. My friends at MyPillow always have great deals. For a limited time, call 800-768-0898 or go to MyPillow.com, use promo code SAVAGE, and you get Mike's 4-pack special. You'll get 40% off 2 MyPillow premium pillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. Buy now, and MyPillow will also extend their New Year money back guarantee through April 1st, 2017. You can have the pillow for months, and if you aren't happy, you can return it for a full guarantee. I've had MyPillow for over a year, and since I've had their ultra-thin pillow, I've never slept better. I've always had the hardest time finding the perfect pillow until I ordered MyPillow. They sent me exactly what I needed, and I couldn't be happier. Don't lose out on these incredible offers. Now through the end of March, MyPillow is offering Mike's 4-pack special. You'll get 40% off 2 MyPillow premium pillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. So go online to MyPillow.com, code SAVAGE for this incredible offer, or call 800-768-0898. That's 800-768-0898 for Mike's 4-pack special. MyPillow, made in the USA, guaranteed the most comfortable pillow you'll ever own.
You're listening to Michael Savage. Coming up tomorrow morning from 5 to 9, it's the KSFO Morning Show on Talk Radio 560 KSFO.
Incidentally, let us not forget my new book, Trump's War, came out the very same day of this assault. That's very intriguing to me. And it's front and center in every major bookstore in America. It is selling extremely well, by the way, because its message is right on time, which is his battle for America. And I guess when you say his battle for America, it means that there are people on the other side who don't like it very much. They like the status quo. Well, for those of us who want change. And the way you do it is you fight it out in the theater of ideas and also in the courts. But you don't assault people. And if you do, you cross the line, and that means you go to jail. But not in certain places, because in certain places, as George Orwell taught us, some animals are more equal than others. Incidentally, we have the link up right now on michaelsavage.com. We've been waiting for months for this. It came up minutes ago. We have a premium streaming site for the show, video and audio of Savage. Right now it's only audio. Live audio streaming. Go behind the scenes, special members only segment, Savage Premium. Join now. And eventually, this will be the only place to stream the radio show. There will be all the other outlets I'm starting to tell you that you're getting it on for free are going to go away. The company wants that. That's what we do. And you could check it out right now. Join Savage Premium on the top of michaelsavage.com, which has other great stories, such as pro-Trump radio host Michael Savage assaulted while having dinner with his poodle Teddy from the London Daily Mail. That's an interesting headline, having dinner with his poodle Teddy. I like that. That has so many meanings to it. Who has dinner with his poodle? Number one, why was I only with my poodle? Why would I rather have dinner with a dog than with a person most of the time? I'll give you 9 reasons why. I can give you 8 reasons why easily, but I don't think I should do it on a radio show. It's sort of sarcastic. There's a lot of good the French know this. That's why the French dine with their animals, because they'd rather sit with an animal in a restaurant than a person who bores them to death. It's not to save money. I don't bring kibble to the restaurant. I'm not like one of these cheap liberals who brings kibble in a little plastic bag and puts it on the rug. No, I usually order him a hamburger and cut it in half. Same dinner every night. I don't know how he doesn't get bored. I give him a hamburger, no salt and pepper, cut it in half, put some water on it, chop it up, and that's his dinner. Then I take the other half home for the other dogs. Or I eat it myself, because sometimes I get so hungry, incidentally, that I actually I taste the food before he gets it. I say, it's too hot, let me taste it. It's because they don't serve you right away, and they make you starve to death. So I get a burger right away. I don't know what this is. They always feed the dog first, wherever I go. 855-407-282. There's a nice picture of Making America Great Again with me and Donald Trump and some other great people. That's a great picture. The America First budget, Trump wants $1.5 billion for the wall, cash for the military, but will slash foreign aid, eliminate funding for PBS and NPR. Gee, I wonder why the libs are unhappy. Because they're going to have to start ponying up some money for the radio stations that they listen to. Here's a nice one. Lawmakers push Tillerson to investigate U.S. funding of Soros political meddling. He is the worst person on the planet and the most dangerous in my estimation. Rand Paul says John McCain is past his prime and may be unhinged. He is. John McCain was seriously mentally damaged in the Hanoi Hilton. He had become crazy after the evil Vietnamese broke his back and tortured him for 5 years. Yeah, that's terrible what they did to him, but that doesn't mean we have to believe what he says. Michael Savage slams CNN for communist attacks on Trump. Great story from Newsmax. See Michael Savage's induction into the Radio Hall of Fame. Think if I was a ball player, a Radio Hall of Famer, and got assaulted, do you think the police would have arrested the assailant? Or think if I was a Hollywood star and someone did that to me in Los Angeles, do you think they would have let the perpetrator go away, especially if he hit another guy right after hitting me? Tell me, if he hit another guy, if they did it to a Hollywood star, do you think the LAPD would let him get away with it? I don't think so.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE.
I wish this bag under my eye would just go away. Well, if that sounds like you every morning, I'm sorry you're not alone. You see, bags and puffiness under the eyes are a problem for millions of American men and women unless you use Genucel, the plant stem cell treatment from Chamonix. Then, ladies and gentlemen, the bags and puffiness will go away. Susan from New Jersey wrote this. I've been using Genucel for a couple of months. The puffiness around my eyes, it's gone. Even the crow's feet and small lines have disappeared and haven't come back. I love your product. I use it under my eyes, around my cheekbones, and on my eyelids. Not only Susan, folks. Others I know have been using Genucel for the past few years, and their eyes have never looked better. The best part is the product works instantly. And with its instant effects, you'll see results in the first 12 hours, or you get your money back. I guarantee it. Call 800-SKIN-891. That's 800-SKIN-891. Plus, right now during the Chamonix Spring Clearance event, Chamonix will give you an instant $50 coupon while supplies last. So call 800-SKIN-891. 800-SKIN-891. That's 800-SKIN-891. I know the only thing that any of you want to hear about today, and I don't blame you, are the news reports. So somebody wrote this on the TMZ coverage of the assault on Michael Savage, and I think it's very pertinent. Frank M. wrote, so we know Savage is 75. We know his dog Teddy is 12. We know the restaurant's name. And yet we know nothing about the disgruntled patron who assaulted him. Usually the first one to throw the punch goes to jail on assault charges, but not in California. Thank you very much, Frank. It is bewildering to me, I got to tell you, this whole business. As far as I'm concerned, the law is an ass. Samuel Johnson wrote that a couple of 100 years ago. Nothing's changed. The law is an ass. I'll just tell you the story from my point of view without telling you the story from my point of view. I'll tell it to you from the point of view of a reporter. Aaron Klein wrote me an email this morning and said, what can you say about it? I'll put it up on Breitbart. Well, here's what I said to him. The headline says, Michael Savage following alleged assault. Quote, it is clearly open season on prominent Trump supporters. Talk radio star Savage told Breitbart News a day after he was reportedly allegedly assaulted. Tell my neck and back that they were reportedly allegedly assaulted at a so-called restaurant in so-called Tiburon. Anyway, I'm not going to read any more of this. I'll read the one paragraph I wrote. You know, I'll tell you the truth. It's 2 days later and the pain is worse and my anger is worse. And my PTSD is kicking in. I'm really starting to get pissed off at everybody, especially those who didn't arrest him. Savage said it is clearly open season on prominent Trump supporters. The fascist left has been empowered by their own false narrative that those of us who support borders, language, and culture, my motto, are evil fascists. This is how Hitler came to power. He used his brown shirts to beat up any opponents. The media and police are now almost wholly driven by this lie. Well, what can I say to you? Last night I had dinner with a number of friends, including several special forces people who were calling me all night. They never forget their friends, and they feel I speak for them. And they said they want justice to be done. I said, yeah, I want justice to be done also, but the law is an ass thus far. You know, I was on the Larry King show yesterday. Larry is a certifiable liberal his whole life. I happen to love the man. I met him on the air. So before the show started, I said, lovely Larry the liberal, how are you? You know what? He didn't get mad. He smiled. He's a good-natured man. Well, then we went and disagreed about politics. He challenged me on everything that Trump did and what do I believe in this and that. But he never got angry. He didn't get vicious. He didn't get mad. And he even invited me to his bagel shop in Beverly Hills to share a schmear with him. Now, I don't eat cream cheese, but I do eat bagels, so I may go down there. But the thing is, there's a difference between being a liberal and being a psychotic fascist progressive. You know that. My family happens to be away on vacation. They were shocked to hear about it. They were way away. They were in the Bahamas. They couldn't believe what they heard. They read it on the news. They called up hysterical. And they said, why was the man not arrested who did this to you and our poor little dog? And the man then attacked another man who tried to intervene, yes. And he didn't get arrested? No. No, he didn't get arrested. They said if you were a woman, he would have been in jail. I said, let me tell you something else that has not yet come out. In the state of California, as in many other states, there are laws that protect senior citizens. It's called elder abuse. Like in Florida, they have some of the most stringent laws to protect older people because the older people lobbied for their protection, as should be done. They are very vulnerable older people. Well, I'm not a, fainting wallflower, but I happen to fall into the category of a protected class of citizen. I'm over a certain age. Now, what if someone had assaulted a child outside that restaurant, even by slapping the child? What would the cops have done? Put a citizen's arrest on the child as well? I really wonder about the law. I wonder about all of it. That is one topic. There's another big story. Trump is proposing cutting all funding for PBS, NPR, and the NEA. I 100% support it. I did so just the other day. Well, they're going crazy. They're going crazy. No, you can't cut NPR. All the communist news and then more. Let them live in the real world like I do. Let them go out in the commercial world and read ads, seek advertisers, not sit there on their high horses in their ivory towers in NPR making $500,000 a year. And what do? They got enormous ratings because there's no ads. They have unlimited time to spew their liberal gospel. You know that if I had no ads, I'd have no show. But let's say I had no ads, my ratings would be triple. Do you understand why NPR has high ratings? I'd love to see NPR go on. My ratings would go up. My competition would go down. Here's another story. 23% of public school children now live in immigrant households. 25% of all of the nation's public school students are immigrants. How are they going to be assimilated in this country? Did you really want to live in a third world nation? Have you considered the consequences of your good-natured liberal background? No, you haven't. Well, maybe you ought to, before it's too late and you wake up a stranger in your own land. And then who are you going to blame? Those of us who said borders, language, culture, or your own stupidity? Liberalism is not so much about being good, it's about being a coward. You're afraid to take a position that is real. There's a lot of other stories out there. You got Jorge Ramos of Univision, and he says things that are so racist, they're frightening. He goes on an MSNBC show or something like that. Jorge Ramos, who said the worst things about Trump and about America you could imagine. Jorge Ramos had the nerve on Fox News. Well, listen to it. What you will hear now is a brown supremacist, in my opinion, in clip 18.
This is our country. It is yours. It is mine. And it is ours. The interesting thing is that with the Trump administration and many people who support Donald Trump, they think it is their country, that it is a white country, and they are absolutely wrong. This is not a white country. This is not their country. It is ours, and that's precisely what I'm saying. Look, in 2044, this country, the white population will become a minority. It will be a majority country. That's precisely what I'm saying. Latinos, Asians, African Americans, whites, it is our country.
Who is this imposter to come to my beautiful country and be such a racist like this and not be challenged by the stooge with a bow tie on Fox News? That's another story I've never talked about. I always thought he was a lightweight stooge. Why Rupert Murdoch, why Rupert Murdoch would pick the bow tie and put him on Fox News, who lets people run all over him like this, is not beyond my imagination. I know why Rupert Murdoch did it. Because Rupert Murdoch is a liberal. Rupert Murdoch is a businessman. Rupert Murdoch is a businessman who goes which way the wind blows. It's that simple. So he picks bow tie and turns him into a star. He was always a lightweight. So he lets this racist go on his show and put the nation down like that and says nothing. Bow tie, never a fan of bow tie. But if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to talk about Trump's war, I have to talk about Trump's war every day. But to begin with, I got to say this. If we only get 10% of what he promised, we are at least 110% ahead of what we would have had if she had won. Page 5. To begin with, Donald Trump has already made good on some essentials. The First Amendment will be safe under Trump, no matter what else he does or doesn't do. Donald Trump is never going to attack talk radio, as Hatchet Hillary promised to do. I can guarantee you there will be no return to the Fairness Doctrine, which was abolished in 1987. Neither is a Trump administration going to touch your guns. By appointing the next 3 judges to the Supreme Court, Trump may very well save the Second Amendment for the next 40 years. Page 5, Trump's war. But this is the best and most important thing. Perhaps most importantly, we're not going to be at war with Russia. As I said in my last book, Scorched Earth, it's life under Trump, death under Clinton. President Trump is going to repair our relationship with Russia in a way Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's community destroyers like Secretary of State John Kerry could never have achieved. Trump decided to speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin before he even took office. The liberal media went insane. They all want war with Russia. It would have sold newspapers. It would have been good for defense contractors, who are all in bed with the politicians and media in the swamp. But it wouldn't have been good for America. So there is much to be thankful for. But now that Donald Trump has won the election, it's our job to make sure he does what we sent him to Washington to do, drain the swamp. And then I continue on page 6, one more paragraph. It's very important you hear me. I decided to write this book as a battle plan. I was curious myself about how President Trump could make good on his promises, not just because they were big and unprecedented, but because he would face opposition to so many of them. And then I write about the enemies within. And I name them in the book. My book. The Battle Plan. Trump's War. So we come down to what's going on in front of our eyes today. Next story from the Washington Times. Trump's Get Tough policies credited for sharp plunge in illegal immigration. Daily Wire. Trump targets ISIS. U.S. Marines just landed in Syria. Now this is a good one coming up next. Southern Illinois University hosts a library nap-in to have dreams of diversity. You couldn't make this up if you tried to. A university in Illinois, because of people who were never qualified to be in the university to begin with, they were let in under, let us say, open admissions plans to make the university look more diverse. Because they cannot study properly and they can't keep up with the other students. They've come up with this crazy insanity, a nap-in to help students dream of diversity. A so-called student coordinator, Marissa Amposta, is holding 4 2-hour naps in the library to internally generate student dreams of diversity as part of the Women's History Month. Do you have any idea what I am saying to you? This is called the death of the West. When you water down standards for the sake of diversity, what you create is a disaster on every level. I'm uncompromising in my statement that in order to have quality anywhere, you have to have equality. But in order to have equality, you have to have quality. Let me put it to you that way. You want equality, then you have to have quality first, or we're all lost. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com. This is going to sound like a horror story, but for some people, it's a reality during tax season. Now, imagine you head to the mailbox after doing your taxes, you reach in, discard all the junk mail, and then pull out the item you've been waiting for so long, only to get a huge shock. Someone's already filed for your return. You probably didn't know that identity thieves could use your personal information to file for your refund or commit other forms of ID theft. In fact, the IRS identified approximately $4.1 billion in suspected identity theft tax refund fraud in 2016. Thankfully, though, there's LifeLock. With LifeLock, you have access to a team of U.S.-based specialists who know the steps to take and the calls to make to fix identity issues, whether it happens during tax season or any other time. Of course, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. Join now and get 10% off by using promo code SAVAGE. Call 1-800-LifeLock or head to LifeLock.com, promo code SAVAGE. That's SAVAGE, and you save 10% now at LifeLock.com. Hey, Savage Nation, I've got big news for you. News you won't hear about anywhere else. A major economic event will take place on or before March 31st, which could have a devastating effect on every dollar you have invested or in savings. Did you hear me? March 31st. This global financial event presents economic danger for those unaware and an epic opportunity for those prepared. According to an urgent new Swiss America report, The Great Convergence of 2017, it is free. All you got to do is call 800-289-2646. It's simple. You call 800-289-2646. I trust Swiss America. They've been with me from the beginning. Don't wait. Get The Great Convergence of 2017, a vital 6-page special report in time to take the steps necessary to protect your hard-earned savings and investments. Do it now. Why risk everything? Just call 1-800-289-2646, 800-289-2646, or visit SwissAmerica.com.
You're listening to Michael Savage. Coming up at 3, it's Mark Levin on Talk Radio 560 KSFO.
All right, welcome back to the Savage Nation. I want to close this show out with a couple of observations. One came to me on my Facebook page from a Deborah Burden who says, remember when Corey Lewandowski merely brushed the female reporter's arm when she got too close to President Trump? This was all over the news for a week, and they kept calling it an assault, Michael Savage. I imagine this. What if Macho Radcow, you know her as Rachel Maddow, what if Macho Radcow had been attacked like I was? Let's just reverse it. Macho Radcow is at a restaurant with her poodle, minding her own business, not talking to someone. Macho Radcow leaves the restaurant, and a woman or a man follows her out of the restaurant, verbally threatens her, and then knocks her to the ground. And then a citizen stands up and tries to stop the assailant and gets punched in the face. Do you think the LAPD or wherever she lives would arrest the assailant? Or would they say to her, well, I'm sorry, the person who allegedly attacked you is having you put under house arrest too? What do you think would have happened if it was Macho Radcow instead of Michael Savage? I'm telling you, this is a classic case. This is such an open and shut, clear case to me. I will not rest until I see justice, I'll tell you right now. Luckily, I have a large audience and an unlimited budget. I'll be very clear. I'm going to follow this right to the Supreme Court if I have to. I don't care. I mean, I do care what happens locally. I want justice at a local level. If I don't get it, I'll go to the federal level. I'll go wherever I have to go to see justice done. And if I see that there's been any collusion between this individual because of, let's say, he's a donor to certain foundations in the area, let us say, or a friend of certain people in the area, let us say, they're all not going to be very happy at the end of the day because we don't live in the South in the 1950s, do we, in Marin, or do we? I actually think this place is more dangerous and more vicious than Mississippi was in the 1950s if you support Donald Trump. But I'm not Mickey Schwerner. Let me put it to you that way. I'm Michael Savage. Phone number here is 855-400-7282. And we'll see where this goes. Every day is a new day. Every day is a new day. But I told you that story about the Bell's palsy about a couple of years ago for a reason. Because I tend to repress pain, I tend to repress injuries, and I tend to treat them myself. I usually don't use medication. The doctor gave me acyclovir for the virus that caused the thing, and then he gave me an anti-inflammatory. I figured out what to do nutritionally because that's my expertise. I threw away the acyclovir after 2 days. I threw away the anti-inflammatory drug, and I used aspirin and very high doses of certain nutrients, which I've used for years to suppress the virus. And I was better in a couple of days. So I've been trying that now for 2 days, but my neck and back are not complying. And so I'm going to have to go tonight or tomorrow and take care of this. Falls are very tricky. The body is a very unpredictable map. And you just don't know what happens when you hit a hard pavement unexpectedly and you're off balance. You just don't know. Broke my head open. Would the police have said he's going to put a citizen's arrest on you? Let's take you into an ambulance and have you come into court? I mean, this is so crazy. It's beyond belief. This is the twilight zone that I live in. But as I say, we give peace a chance. This is a classic case of bullying and assault. Not only was I assaulted, but he punched a Good Samaritan right in the face and then hid like a little sissy in the restaurant. He ran and hid behind his girlfriend, they're telling me. He ran into the restaurant and hid. Where are all the liberals now that we need them? Where have they all gone? All these people who hate bullies, who hate assault, who hate violence, who taught their children not to hit. Where are you now, you liars, you? You phony liars, where are you now? Where are you hiding today? It's open season on Trump supporters. Let me tell you something. The law will win. I'll win through the courts of law because I'm right, he's wrong.